Officer mocked her silence about her missions until the room realized why she couldn't talk. So let me get this straight. Colonel Hargrove's voice fills the briefing room like smoke. You've been embedded with this unit for 6 days, and you haven't told a single soul what your actual missions were. Not one. Not even a theater. Not even a year. He pauses, lets the silence stretch. You want to know what I think, sweetheart? I think there weren't any missions. The words cut through the room like a blade scraping metal. 47 people heard that. 47 people are now waiting for her answer. She doesn't give them one. Her name, according to her temporary access badge, is Specialist Reyes. Elena Reyes, 29 years old. According to the personnel file Colonel Hargrove pulled 3 hours ago when he first decided she was a problem. The file is thin, deliberately thin. Hargrove read it twice and found it insulting. A woman with that little on record sitting in his briefing room, wearing a uniform with no unit patch and no campaign ribbons. The AC in Joint Base Lewis McChord's Eastern Wing hums at a constant 62 degrees. Outside, the Puget Sound is gray and flat under a November sky. Inside, the smell of burnt coffee and gun oil hangs in recycled air. Somewhere down the corridor, a door closes with the specific heaviness of a facility that processes classified materials. 47 people. She counted them when she walked in. 15 junior analysts, 9 communication specialists, 8 senior NCOs, 6 intelligence officers, 4 colonels, including Hargrove, and 5 civilians whose lanyards identify them as defense contractor personnel from a firm she recognized immediately, though she gave no sign of it. She filed that detail. She files everything. She is 5'4". Her regulation bun is exactly regulation, not casually assembled, not decorated with anything that doesn't belong there. Not a single strand out of place. Her uniform is clean and correct and completely bare of any patch, any ribbon, any insignia beyond the rank of specialist that she was handed when she signed into this facility on Monday. Her hands rest on the table in front of her, completely still. She's working on a disassembled communications array that 4 other techs have already failed to calibrate. She does not look up. She has not looked up once during Hargrove's performance. Miss Reyes. He steps closer. His shadow falls across her workspace, across the components laid out in precise sequence on the field cloth. He is 6'2", and decorated, 14 ribbons on his chest, 3 decades of visible service, the particular posture of a man who has not been told no in so long he has forgotten the word exists. I'm talking to you. I heard you, sir. Then you'll answer the question. Her hands continue moving over the array components. Wrist angle precise. Finger spacing deliberate. The kind of grip that doesn't come from a manual. My missions are classified, Colonel. Everything's classified. He spreads his hands for the room, performs it, works the crowd. A ripple of uncomfortable laughter from the junior analysts. He's encouraged them before. They know what's expected. That's not an answer, sweetheart. That's a dodge. She controls her breathing. 4 in, hold 4, 4 out, hold 4. That's the only answer I'm authorized to give. Authorized. He says the word like it tastes amusing. You've got 1 star's worth of clearance on that badge. You're a specialist. Most specialists in this room have been deployed at least twice and can name every theater. He leans down slightly, close enough that she can smell the aftershave. How many deployments? Classified. What unit? Classified. Where were you last year? Classified. He straightens. He looks around the room. His face does the thing faces do when a man realizes he's getting applause, spreads, broadens, settles into certainty. You know what I think, people? He addresses the room, not her. I think Specialist Reyes here has the most classified record in history because there is no record. No deployments, no unit, no missions, just a very thin personnel file and a talent for saying the word classified. Laughter. More of it this time. Less uncomfortable. She doesn't flinch. In the far corner of the room, near the secondary entrance that opens onto the eastern corridor, a man who has been leaning against the wall with his arms crossed and his coffee going cold says nothing. He is 61 years old. His name is Master Sergeant William Decker, and he has 33 years of service that he stopped keeping careful count of around year 22. He was supposed to be in a different briefing across the facility. He wandered in because the door was open, and old habits make him check rooms as he passes. He should leave. He doesn't. He is watching how Specialist Reyes holds a frequency modulator component in her right hand. The angle of her wrist, the spacing of her index and middle finger around the calibration point. He has seen that grip in exactly 2 places in his career. Once at a training facility whose name he was asked not to repeat, and once on a woman in Kandahar whose rank nobody in that theater ever knew, who arrived, did what she came to do, and was gone before the after-action report was filed. His pen stops moving. His jaw tightens. He does not move from his corner. The afternoon brings new indignities. By 1400, the story has shape. By 1600, it has embellishment. By the time the mess hall fills for dinner, Specialist Reyes, the woman with the empty file and the talent for saying nothing, has become something between a joke and a curiosity, depending on who's telling it. In the group chats she isn't part of, her silence has been interpreted as everything. She's a test, she's a plant, she's a fraud, she's someone's mistress given a uniform and a temporary badge. She is eating alone. Her tray, rice, protein, vegetable, water, nothing else. She eats with the efficiency of someone who has learned to consume calories in whatever form they arrive, in whatever window appears. She is listening to 4 separate conversations simultaneously and filing patterns. Who defers to whom, where real authority lives beneath the visible hierarchy? Who looks at the door when certain names are mentioned? 3 of the defense contractor civilians eat together every meal. They choose the same corner table. Their voices drop when anyone in a uniform comes within 6 feet. She files that. At 17:15, she returns to the communications array. 3 senior techs have signed off on their failed attempts. She is assigned to document the failure and recommend contractor support, a task designed to take 4 hours and produce no useful result. She completes the calibration in 42 minutes. Master Sergeant Decker, passing the doorway on his way to the eastern corridor, stops. She doesn't see him. She isn't looking at the door. She is inputting the monthly authentication code for the array's secure channel, a 23-digit rolling cipher that requires the current operational key, the facility's subkey, and a classified override authorization that no specialist-level access badge should carry. The process takes most credentialed operators between 4 and 9 minutes. She completes it in under 8 seconds. Decker stands in the doorway for 4 seconds. Then he walks away. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't write anything. He adds it to a picture he's been building since this morning in a part of his mind that he's learned to trust more than official paperwork. Something about this woman. He can't place it. But it's there. The next morning, Colonel Hargrove escalates. It is a formal action, not a social embarrassment this time, but an official credential challenge, filed with the facility security apparatus at 0700. He has reviewed her badge again. He has reviewed her file again. He has made 2 phone calls that he believes are sufficient. The calls connected to a mid-level personnel verification office that gave him the answers he expected. The file is thin because she is new. The clearance is limited because her role is limited. Her assignment here is administrative support. Nothing classified. Nothing mission critical. He takes this as confirmation. At 0900, she is brought to a secondary conference room for a formal security interview. 2 officers she hasn't met. A recorder on the table. The door closed. What were you doing at 500 this morning? System check. Whose authorization? The assignment sheet issued Monday. Which system? Eastern Array, secure channel. It's in the log. Why at 0500? Light traffic, better performance data. How did you access the authentication protocol? She controls her breathing. 4 in, hold 4, 4 out, hold 4. I was issued the codes with my assignment package. One of the officers looks at the other. Something passes between them. They write something. She reads it upside down without giving any sign that she can. She files it. Outside, in the corridor, Hargrove is speaking to the facility's security director in a voice that carries through the door. I want her access suspended pending full verification. The file doesn't add up. Nobody comes in here with a record that thin and clearance codes for a secure channel. Nobody. Someone made a mistake. A pause. Or she did. At 11:30, her badge is flagged. She's asked to remain in the secondary conference room pending review. The door closes. The review will take, she's told, between 4 and 6 hours. She sits on the metal bench. Concrete walls, a window near the ceiling that shows a rectangle of gray November sky. The smell of disinfectant failing to cover something older. The specific institutional scent of a room that has been used for difficult conversations for a long time. Her hands rest on her knees. She controls her breathing. 4 in, hold 4, 4 out, hold 4. This is the near fail moment, the point where anyone watching from the outside would think she's finished. Caught. Game over. Except games have rules. And she's about to show them they've been playing the wrong game entirely. Her watch reads 11:43. It is a standard issue field watch. Nobody thought to confiscate it. That is exactly how she planned this 11 weeks ago. In 22 minutes, a check-in protocol she activated at 0800 will return a missed signal to a monitoring system at a facility in Virginia. The system will flag it automatically. A second flag will route to a specific terminal. In 64 minutes, an automated protocol she embedded in the Eastern Array's secure channel during last night's calibration will complete its full cycle and generate an alert carrying a classification marker above the clearance level of anyone currently in this building. In approximately 2 hours and 18 minutes, Colonel Hargrove is going to learn the difference between institutional rank and operational authority. She closes her eyes. She waits. At 1312, Master Sergeant Decker is walking past the secondary conference room for the 3rd time in an hour when he stops. He looks at the door. He looks down the corridor at the 2 young security officers stationed outside it, who are too young to have the thing in their faces that he's been watching for since 0900. He walks to Colonel Hargrove's office. The colonel is at his desk, reviewing the security report. I'd be very careful about this one, Decker says. Hargrove doesn't look up. Noted, Master Sergeant. I mean that specifically, sir, not generally. Now Hargrove looks up. You have something relevant to add? Decker considers. He thinks about Kandahar. He thinks about the authentication code completed in 8 seconds. He thinks about the way her hands moved over a communications array that 4 qualified technicians couldn't calibrate, with the specific grip of someone who has held that equipment in conditions where the stakes were not a performance report. I'd just be careful, he says again. And he leaves. Hargrove watches the door close. His pen taps once against the desk. Something flickers across his face, just for a heartbeat, then it's gone. By 1344, he has dismissed the thought. At 1347, the eastern corridor doors open. They arrive in 2 vehicles. Black, not standard transport. Command birds, the kind of appearance that says this is official business at the highest level. 4 individuals in service dress, their rank insignia visible from 60 feet. Behind them, 2 others in civilian dress, whose lanyard badges identify them as federal, not contractor, not support. Federal. The facility's duty officer intercepts them at the entrance. He's handed a document. His face goes pale in the specific way that faces go pale when a person reads something that immediately reorganizes their understanding of the last 48 hours. Where is she? The lead figure, a woman in the service dress of a 2-star general, says. Not a question. The shape of a question with the force of a statement. Conference Room B, General. Secondary wing. The group moves. Hargrove appears in the corridor 30 seconds later, having been alerted by his aide. He sees the 2-star. He sees the federal badges. He sees the document still in the duty officer's hand. His blood runs cold. General Ashworth? His voice comes out calibrated, professional. He's very good at his voice. I wasn't notified of an inspection. This isn't an inspection, Colonel. She doesn't stop walking. Stand by. He falls into step behind them, because there is nothing else to do. Because options that seemed solid 10 minutes ago have become vapor. Conference Room B. The security officers outside the door step back immediately when they see the rank approaching. The door opens. She's sitting on the metal bench in exactly the position she sat down in. Her hands on her knees, her breathing even. She looks up when the door opens, and nothing in her face indicates surprise. Because she is not surprised, and she has never been surprised. And the countdown she ran in her head landed within 90 seconds of the actual arrival. General Ashworth stops in the center of the room. The 2 federal agents move to either side. Specialist Reyes, Ashworth says, with the specific intonation of a person reciting a cover designation rather than a name. General Ashworth. Ashworth reaches into the document folder she carries. She removes a single page, not a form, not a report, not a file. An order. Stamped in the upper right corner with a classification marker in dark red ink. She holds it up. Hargrove, behind her in the doorway, cannot read the classification level from where he stands. He can read the color. He has never seen that color on a document in this facility. In his 31 years of service, he has seen it twice. His hand drifts, involuntarily, without decision, toward his collar, as though his own insignia has suddenly become questionable. General Ashworth says, "Would you like to do this here, or would you prefer a larger room?" There is a pause. It lasts 2 seconds. "Larger room," she says. "He performed in public. This should be public too." The main briefing room holds 60 people. At 14:02, it holds 58. The 2 security officers from the corridor remain at their post because someone has to. Everyone else is present. She walks in last. She changed nothing about her appearance. Same uniform, same bun, same boots. She's still wearing the temporary specialist badge. Though Hargrove's aide tried to collect it in the corridor and was stopped by one of the federal agents with a single word. No. General Ashworth stands at the front of the room. She speaks to the room first. "What I'm about to tell you carries a classification level above the clearance of most personnel present. You are being briefed under Emergency Operational Disclosure Authority. You are not to repeat what you hear in this room without authorization. Is that understood?" 56 murmurs of affirmation. Hargrove, standing at the side of the room, says nothing. His jaw is tight. His face is doing something complex, cycling through expressions in an order that doesn't resolve into anything recognizable. Ashworth nods once. She looks at the woman standing just inside the doorway. If you would. She reaches up with her left hand and pushes her sleeve past the wrist, past the forearm, up to the inside of her upper arm, where the fabric of her uniform has been hiding for 6 days. The thing that nobody thought to look for, because nobody thought she was the kind of person worth looking for it on. The tattoo is small, precise, not decorative, functional, in the way that certain marks are functional, the way a serial number is functional. It is the stylized outline of a trident inside a circle, rendered in dark ink, with a 4-digit classification code beneath it in a font that exists in exactly 3 places. The personnel files of the Naval Special Warfare Command, the records of a program that has not been publicly acknowledged, and the institutional memory of anyone who has worked alongside operators from that program in the field. Master Sergeant Decker, standing against the far wall with his arms at his sides, sees it. The color leaves his face. Not theatrical color loss. Real. The kind that happens when a body recognizes something before the mind has finished processing it. His hand does something involuntary. It moves. A few inches, then stops, then, very slowly, rises to the edge of a salute. He catches himself. He does not complete it. Not yet. But his body got there before his rank did. 3 other senior NCOs near the front of the room have seen the tattoo now. One of them, Rangemaster Ellis, 26 years of service, trained at the same facilities whose names don't appear in public records, makes a sound, not a word. The kind of sound that escapes a person when something impossible becomes fact. The room detonates. Gasps, actual audible gasps, from multiple personnel. Someone drops a tablet. The clatter echoes like a gunshot in the stunned silence. The AC hum suddenly seems deafening. A boot scuffs tile. A chair scrapes concrete. Someone's badge swings against their lanyard, and the small sound carries to every corner of the room. Not standard silence. The kind of silence that makes people check exits. General Ashworth speaks. The individual you have known this week as Specialist Elena Reyes is Commander Reyes of Naval Special Warfare Command. Her operational classification level is above the clearance of everyone in this room, including myself. She has been embedded in this facility under cover authorization, carrying direct executive mandate. Ashworth pauses. Her presence here is not administrative. It is investigative. Specifically, 3 of your civilian contractors are operating under compromised affiliations with a foreign intelligence network that has been penetrating DoD logistics communications for approximately 19 months. She looks at the 3 defense contractor civilians at the corner table. All 3 are now flanked by the federal agents. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. Commander Reyes identified the penetration point through the Eastern Array's secure channel during her calibration last night. The alert generated by that calibration was the second confirmation required for federal warrant execution. Ashworth lets that land. This operation is complete. The individuals responsible are in custody. Classified communications on this base are secure. The room does not breathe. Hargrove's face has gone through surprise. It has gone through denial. It is now somewhere past both of those, in a territory that looks, from the outside, something like genuine fear. Not theatrical. Quiet. This is worse than any speech. General Ashworth turns to face him directly. Colonel Hargrove, your official actions over the past 48 hours, the credential challenge, the security flag, The detention order constituted obstruction of an active federal intelligence operation. You will be informed of the formal charges through your commanding officer. A pause. One beat. Every person in this room, including myself, answers to her authority on matters pertaining to this operation. The silence holds. Then Master Sergeant Decker, William Decker, 33 years. The man who noticed the grip on a frequency modulator at 0900 yesterday morning and added it to a picture he'd been building without knowing exactly what picture it was, raises his right hand. The salute is slow, deliberate, the kind that comes from muscle memory and choice simultaneously. Rangemaster Ellis follows. 1 second behind, the next salute comes from the senior intelligence officer, then the communications chief. Then, in a cascade that takes 11 seconds and moves through the room like something inevitable, 41 people bring their hands up. 4 generals in the room, every one of them saluting. Hargrove stands at the side of the room. His hand does not move. The federal agent nearest him clears his throat once. Hargrove's hand rises. It is the slowest salute in the room. It costs him something visible. He pays it. She looks at him for one moment, the first time she has looked at him directly, held his gaze since Monday morning when he called her sweetheart in front of 47 people, and she went back to her calibration without missing a beat. Her face says nothing. It doesn't need to. She returns the salute precisely. Then she turns away. She's already thinking about the next phase. By 1700, the base is quiet in the particular way that facilities go quiet after something has reorganized the atmosphere. The 3 contractors are in federal custody. The paperwork that will constitute Hargrove's formal review is already moving through channels, moving the way institutional machinery moves when the mandate behind it is real. Steadily, without noise, without mercy. She stands at a window in the eastern wing. The Puget Sound at dusk is hammered copper. The November sky runs from deep indigo at the top to a long orange streak where the sun is finishing its work along the Olympic Mountains. Her watch reads 17:03 in military time. She holds a cup of coffee that has gone cold. They mocked her silence. They forgot it was the only thing keeping their operation alive long enough to end theirs. Justice isn't loud. It's patient. She drinks the cold coffee. She sets the cup down. She opens the encrypted file on her secured device and reads the name she's been carrying for 3 months. The name at the top of the network, the name that doesn't appear in any of the materials recovered today. The operation here is complete. The mission is not. The penetration network has a source, a handler, someone who recruited the 3 contractors, who has been running them from a location that has appeared in signals intelligence twice in the last 8 months. Once from a rooftop relay in Cyprus, and once from a transmission point that the NSA has tentatively mapped to a communications hub in a city she won't think too carefully about yet. She has a name and a partial image, a signal and a rooftop. A mission that didn't end today, just changed shape. She closes the file. Outside, the Olympic Mountains are going dark at their edges. The Puget Sound is still. Somewhere below, a jeep moves across the base perimeter, headlights on, unhurried. Tomorrow brings new ghosts to hunt. Every soldier carries a story that few ever hear. Listen with your heart. Thank you for staying and watching. Subscribe to MVP Stories for more.